You're listening to The Scrimmage with Daniel Hargrove and Justin Domashevitz.
Yeah, Monday. Good morning and welcome to The Scrimmage. I'm Daniel Hargrove.
I'm Justin Domashevitz, and we also have our trusty producer, Andrew, here with us trying to fix all of the technological issues we're having in this socially distanced episode of The Scrimmage, which is brought to you by Ole Penn Real Estate, State Farm agent Mark Rossetti, and the law office of Jeffrey A. Domashevitz. We got a lot of great topics today, including two that are about Seahawks players. One of the topics is real. One of them is manufactured. We're going to talk about both of them.
Yeah, and we got some random topics to talk about with a couple of franchises / teams that we really don't like. So I'm really curious to see where those discussions go to. One includes the Pittsburgh Steelers, the other, the Duke Blue Devils.
Ooh.
So let's get it going with a 2-minute drill brought to you by State Farm agent Mark Rossetti.
It's not just a home or a car, it's the 6 months you save to get your Ultra HD flat screen just in time for football season. It's the overtime you worked for that third car so that your team can drive themselves to practice. While other insurance companies just see them as a bundle or a combo, State Farm agent Mark Rossetti sees your home and car as things you work really hard for. Mark understands what your things really mean to you and is here to help you give them the protection they deserve. Visit Mark Rossetti at 613 Oak Street in Aberdeen for your home and auto insurance today.
Let's go, huddle up! Gotta hurry. Hey, 2-minute situation, 44 seconds, hand the ball to the ref. Gonna do it right. 3 jet Buckeye on 1 3.
The 2-minute drill starts now.
Former Pittsburgh Steelers linebacker James Harrisson said earlier this week that Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin, quote, handed him an envelope after Harrisson was fined $75,000 for an illegal hit on Browns receiver Mohamed Massaquoi. Daniel, what do you make of that comment, and do you believe Harrisson?
I think Harrison's a crazy person, so really I'm not sure what to make of this comment. It seems like maybe it was just some random little joke that happened between the two of them. He didn't say there was anything in the envelope, but also Harrison's a crazy person, so I'm not sure what to believe when it comes with anything that he says, especially about something that happened so long ago. Also, people who are trying to make it like it was kind of like Bountygate seems really weird, since it was Mohamed Massaquoi. Why would there be a bounty against Mohamed Massaquoi and the Browns? Doubtful. Former Duke University Blue Devil and current New Orleans Pelican, Zion Williamson is being sued by his former marketing agent, who has requested that he admit to receiving money, benefits, favors, or other things of value to attend Duke University last year. Justin, what do you think of this accusation against Duke and Zion?
Wait a minute. So the most marketable college basketball player in decades was receiving money to play college basketball? You know what I think about that? Like, honestly, I'd love to take every opportunity to slam Duke that I possibly can, and I really, on a professional level, I dislike Zion Williamson. Don't tell anyone, but I personally think he seems like a nice kid. Here's the problem. This is happening, okay, people? This is happening everywhere, and when this comes from a person who has an axe to grind as a former marketing agent, it's stupid for us to take this as anything more than what it is, which is a player having something uncovered that so many players and schools are doing all over the place. So as much as I'd like to say, Duke is slimy, Duke is the devil, literally, I would love to say that, but I can't, because I just assume everyone's doing this everywhere, and I feel like whatever money he got, he deserved. Pro Football Focus tweeted a list of the top 6 quarterbacks who had the most incompletions on positively graded throws from 2017 through 2019, with Russell Wilson and Tom Brady leading the way with 48. Aaron Rodgers and Phillip Rivers were next at 47, and then Jameis Winston and Matt Stafford at 45. Daniel, what does this tell us about the receivers that Russell Wilson has had to work with?
I think it could tell you a lot if you just look at that surface number and you're like, yeah, Brady and Russell Wilson, of course they don't have good receivers those 3 years. This is something that people have talked about a ton. And yet I really think that when you dig deeper into it, it makes you question it a little bit. But first of all, yeah, I think outside of Tyler Lockett and then last year Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf, the Seahawks receivers have been questionable. The amount of times that I've watched games and been like, David Moore, Malik Turner, what are they even in the game for? I want John Ursua. Yeah, that happens a lot. But then you also look at Jameis Winston, who by the national media has quite possibly some of the best receivers out there. You either go, is the national media wrong about how good those receivers are? Or I don't know what to say. I mean, it's a weird list seeing that Jameis Winston is in there because everybody assumes that his weapons are amazing and he's just terrible. So it brings up more questions than I think that it answers. Tampa Bay Rays star pitcher and former AL Cy Young winner Blake Snell made the news earlier this week on Twitch by indicating that he does not want to play this season for anything less than his full $7 million contract. Media members spent a couple of days crushing him, and the response from players has been mixed. Justin, were Snell's comments tone deaf?
I generally feel annoyed by any question that, or any issue that resolves optics or whether someone is tone deaf. I think the only saving grace on that particular argument is that Major League Baseball does depend on optics because they need people to watch them. But on a personal level, I have no issue with anything that Snell said. What he was saying basically was that I'm kind of afraid of what effect it could have on my health. This is what essential workers have been arguing for across the nation, which is hazard pay. Some of them have gotten it. I don't think, considering the fact that the nation is dealing with unemployment and financial crisis with a lot of personal people, I could understand how someone might take exception to his comments. But if I think about it from Snell's perspective, I have no issue with anything that he said. Can I assume there was a buzzer there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Part of the technical difficulties, people.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's dealing with trying to do things over the internet, just like we are. Hopefully we can get back into the studio soon. Justin, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, when you bring in the discussion that everybody is trying to ask for a hazard pay while working through all of this, that totally brings in a whole new layer to this. I mean, we have seen unions on so many different levels talk about how they need... Wow, my arm disappears sometimes when I use it. This background.
Just in case you're not watching the video and you're listening to the podcast, Daniel is trying out a new Oregon Beavers background, which is really cool looking. But when he moves certain ways, it makes some of his body parts disappear. Earlier,
and apparently he just noticed.
Earlier in the show, he had no head for a little while, which was kind of entertaining. So, but yeah, I think.
Just real quick, Justin, to finish that point, unions across the nation have been talking about this. We've even seen it here locally about people who are working that want hazard pay and more precautions taken. And you got to admit, with how scared everybody is right now, those are some real issues. Not to mention the fact that starting pitchers, especially, but pitchers in general, they seem to have an unknown amount of pitches that they will have in their arm before something just blows out. You can never really tell when it's going to be, how many pitches, who's going to be able to go long, whose arm is just going to absolutely give out on a pitch. It's understandable that especially a starting pitcher would be concerned about this and would try to get as much money as possible during his playing career lifespan.
I think watching the way the national media as a whole reacted to Snell's comments, to me it felt like pandering. Like they, by and large, they decided, hey, the people that listen to us are not going to like this. And so they just crushed him. And it felt disingenuous to me because, Yeah, I mean, I understand we're talking about like this guy's going to make $7 million in his contract this year. The tail end of it, he's got 3 more years, I believe, on his deal, and it was a $50 million deal, but he's only made $6 million so far. So that means he's probably making 15 to 20 million over the last 3 years per year over the last 3 years of the deal. So when we're looking at this is a guy that's made about $6 million in his career. He's looking at, okay, well, I could make $7 million this year. First, they said prorated because we're going to play half the season, which means I'll make $3.5 million. And now they're talking about a profit share, which is completely reasonable. But that probably means he's going to make less than half of what he would have made there. So he's looking at it going, okay, well, compared to what I'm going to make the following 3 years, this is like a drop in the bucket. Why would I do that? Why would I put my health on the line, not only from the perspective of what's going on with the virus, but also, like you mentioned, Daniel, there's only so many pitches in the arm. So why am I going to go out there for pennies on the dollar for what I'm capable of earning and play? And I think the way he stated it is the only issue, because he stated it in a really arrogant way and a very elitist way. If he had said it a little differently, there would have been no problem about it at all. But when you get to the root of his comments, I really don't have any issue with them at all. He's saying, I'm concerned about what the effect it will be on me, and it might not be worth it for me to play for that amount of money. And I have no issue with that at all. And I think there may be other players, maybe other high-profile players that, even if Major League Baseball does get together and figure out some kind of a monetary compromise, there might be guys that still don't want to play. I mean, Mike Trout, is he going to want to be quarantined while his wife is having their first baby? Like, I don't even know that they're going to get 100% participation in this, 3 to 6 month experiment of quarantined baseball, even if they do come to a deal. So I think when we look back on this, we're going to look at Blake Snell as the first guy to say it.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense to me. It really does, because like we mentioned, everybody's scared. Everybody's worried about health. And to just ask professional athletes to not be part of that group that's worried and scared seems a little odd to me. I do think that you're right. He said it in kind of the arrogant way that people could latch on to negatively pretty easily. But it does seem like it's something that when you boil it down to what he's actually saying is really what most of the country is talking about right now.
Agreed.
I think it's worth noting that this wasn't a prepared statement or even an unprepared statement to the press. This was a guy playing video games on Twitch and just rambling. So I think that context, like, I don't even think if he would have prepared that statement and given it to the press, I would have been like, he messed up. Like, that, he should have taken the time to figure out how to say that in a better way. But you're literally just getting what he's thinking as the front part of his brain is involved in playing a video game, and he's just talking to people that he's considering, like, these are people that he's sharing a game with. He's not addressing this. Everyone's paying attention to him, obviously, but I think it's, to me, the fact that it's undoubtedly tone deaf and comes off as arrogant, that only would matter if I thought that he had considered this remark and prepared it and still came off that way. The fact that he sounds like that when he's just giving his honest thoughts, that doesn't bother me at all.
Are you supposed to play video games with the front part of your brain? Because that might be my problem. I think I've been using the back part of my brain when I play Mario Kart, and that's why my kids beat me.
Oh, maybe. I'm actually not an expert.
Yeah, have you been winning did you win your Mother's Day tournament?
Actually, no. I was the first adult. Besides my 5-year-old daughter, I was the first person eliminated.
That's our 2-minute drill discussion, brought to you by State Farm agent Mark Rossetti. Again, thank you for the sponsorship.